So we're straight into the cockpit instrument panel. Like I say, no great dramas here at all. All goes together very nicely. There's the, I don't know what you call it. It's really very early heads up display that were coming in the, I think 43 or something like that. It's quite amazing what they were doing tech-wise at that time. Basically just some BS green, British standard, and this is my own custom brew. I've not gone into any great detail. Again, at this level and scale, well, how would I put it? Level and scale, I'm not going to put in huge amounts of work, but that sometimes makes it fun. For a 10-pound kit, why would you do that? It's hard to justify sometimes putting in super effort. So I've just come in here. Everything is basically that British standard green, painting the leather seat, instrument panel getting cut out here. Again, I think for 1/72nd, generally I'm quite happy just doing the decal style instrument panels. In most cases, you're never really going to see much of the internals of the cockpit on these planes at this scale. So to me, that always does a reasonable job. I do have some, what are they, the Profi packs and stuff, Edward. Yeah, if you've got it, great, but I wouldn't go out of my way to spend the extra money on effectively an entry-level kit, if that makes sense, but each to their own. So again, putting the fuselage together here, there's no great surprises at all. One thing I probably did make a little bit of a mistake and was being a bit too casual with some of the finishing. And that's easy to fix up. And by finishing, I mean the cleanup. I was kind of just rushing. Well, I wouldn't even say rushing. I was kind of just having fun with this one, to be honest. I wasn't overthinking it. But it's almost a lesson that, yeah, do take care with your finishing, because especially if you get into metallic effect, it'll really haunt you later. Things that you might not notice if it was just greys and greens really do start to show up if you're doing something like aluminium. I've done mine in flight, so here you can see where basically wheels up, it'll go onto the stand. I didn't have any dramas at all with the fit. You can see this is all going together pretty nicely. No complaints. And in the few cases where the fit was maybe 99%, that was as much my laziness and, like I say, rushing a bit. So I've just put the wheel covers in, thin cement, easy. The wings go together nicely, no dramas at all. Drilling out the mounts there, I think that was 0.6 or something like that, probably 1 mil drill. Interestingly, the fuel tanks on this, and it is mentioned in the instructions, are clear. Apparently they used clear plastic, and you'll see that when we get there. What I've done here is, I think they're the filler windows that go on to the undersurface of the wing so that they could see if there's fuel in there, I suppose is the obvious answer. But what I did do is I've used my cricket machine, however it's said, basically to make a range of just circle stencils that I can come in and cover circular ports like that, I suppose, viewing ports. Mostly I use it to do the wheels, but in this case it comes in handy for something like those viewing windows on the undersurface of the wing. Again, no great surprises putting this together, all goes together. Yeah, very nice. I tend to use a lot of tape just to make sure everything is sitting properly, but at this point you can see we're really starting to look like we've got a nice little plane coming together. I use the thin cement. In these cases, I use really a mix of both. The thin cement for the places where I get capillary action. I'm always a bit wary of it, though. You do have to pay attention, because if you are not careful, it'll come back out the other side. So there's those clear fuel tanks. Apparently back in 1946 they were clear plastic. So you'll see that I mask these at the root part. I'm not sure what you call it. The actual mounting part was clear. So I've come here, I think that's just 2mm tape, because it was a bit of a surprise to me, but apparently that's how they were. I really should probably put in the effort to have a look and see the real ones. So a bit of finishing. I really probably should have spent a bit more time on that, but is what it is. Propellers, what would I say? I've actually changed my approach to doing propellers. I normally do the yellow tips first, and then I'll mask these. Like you see there, I've just put some tape across the tips, and then I come back and do the black later. I found that that's easier. Oh, here's what I was mentioning. I've just made like a set of templates of little circles that I can use for different parts. Like I say, mostly I use it to do wheels, but in this case for these viewing windows, they worked perfect. I've come in now that we've got essentially a plane coming together with Mr. Surfacer. This is 1500, and I was running a bit thick at that point, but I wasn't too worried about it, because what I'm going to do is really hit this hard, like you see here with Mr. Leveling Thinner. And I'm just spraying this neat at this point, because what it's doing is essentially remelting everything and then giving a really nice gloss effect, because the gloss effect is really just a measure of the surface smoothness. So while that was drying and doing its thing, I come in and painted the pilot. This is that RAF uniform blue. I think he's got like a brown leather flying cap. Again, I don't get totally carried away on doing something like these figures. Two reasons. One is that they're just small, and I'm not really going to be looking too much. And the other is, in general, you're not going to get super detail in these kits. So I think it's just a what would you say, the weighted return on that. But having said that, you can get a nice half decent little figure by just taking a bit of care. So what I've done here, or doing, is I want to get the cockpit or canopy on and the cockpit finished. You can see how smooth that Mr. Surfacer is now. Another interesting thing I've learned over the years is I come with PVA or canopy glue. It's basically PVA that you can get at craft stores and hardwares and so. And I'll paint in the gaps, because that gives me a really nice finish. Unfortunately, I did lose some of the video of doing the metallic, but all I've used here is Mr. Color Silver. And I got to say, I was really impressed. I essentially did the same thing. I used Mr. Color Mr. Color Silver, and then I've come back and really hit it pretty hard with Mr. Leveling Thinner. Like I say, just to remelt and get that almost mirror finish. One of the temptations at this point is to be touching and playing around with it, which is never good, because even though the lacquers will dry very quick, when you're doing this you do have to be careful, because it can take quite a while to get a proper dry on these. So I've learnt just to walk away, don't touch it, give it a good few hours if you're going to do the spray and soak approach. But like I say, just that is just with pure lacquer Mr. Color Silver. I can't remember the number, but it's the one that says silver. So you'll be able to work it out, or I'll put it in the notes. But yeah, that's always a cool part, taking off the masking. And you can see here just the effect that I've got. And I'm really, at this point, I am really, really happy with it. Like I say, it's a nice kit, so I can't take compliment or credit for that. But yeah, the silver effect has come out very nicely, better than I expected. And I'm always tending to experiment a bit with these silver effects to find something that works. But yeah, just for simplicity and ease and end result, I'm pretty happy with that. So that's where it's at this point. The next step was essentially finishing. To all intents and purposes, we have a plane at this point. The kit itself does include the decals, the yellow decals to do the edging, I think warning edging on those leading edges of the wings. I did mess around with it and then I got fed up and I decided, okay, this has come together better than I expected, so I'll just mask and paint. It's a bit tedious, but in reality, what took me maybe 30-40 minutes to mask, I use essentially modeling tape for the detail work, and then for bulk areas I just use cheap masking tape from newsagents or wherever, and I just tack that on. You'll see there was one area on the engine cowling which I did come back and do a bit of a repair on because I skimped in the earlier finishing stages. But yeah, at this point, yeah, very happy. So I've done those leading edges painted rather than decal, and I think, yeah, for the extra, let's say an hour of work, it's 50 times better result. So again, this is always fun, provided it works well. When you take the masking off, you always get a bit of a kick if it's all gone well. Nothing's leaked through or anything like that. But yeah, just in general, you're always going to get a better result by painting compared to decals. I did resort to decals on the wings here, but yeah, I'm not going to defend myself on that. To me, the result there looked fine, and a bit of touching and weathering and all that, it all starts to come together very nicely. Having said that, if it was larger scales, yeah, I'd probably be painting. Here's the roundels going on. I do use my fingers occasionally, but generally I do a lot of decals with tweezers these days. That's another thing that has progressed as time's gone on, that I've tend to use my fingers less and less. But having said that, there are times when is really useful. One nice thing here is it was pretty easy to line up the decals. I would also make a note that if you are doing this, be very careful of the D in the decals, because that really did have a urge to twist. Actually, one of them I had to cut and untangle it and get it out flat. A little bit of a scary moment for a while. So already we're on to doing all these like panel hatch decals and so on. I got to admit, I don't always do every tiny little decal, but I was that happy with this build that I was generally amusing myself by coming through and spending the time and putting all these in. And I do think it just gives that little bit of an extra, what would you say? It just gives an appearance that there's more going on, especially when you're dealing with just, what would you say, one monocolor, in this case, aluminium or whatever it is, the silver. I did use some panel liner. This is just Tamiya out the bottle. It's handy for, what would I say? Yeah, just quick and dirty as such. If I don't want to do anything super complicated, it's just nice to have some ready mix. I did also use my Starship Grey. I can't remember where I've seen this, and it's turned out to be a really popular one that a lot of people are using. I didn't want to do heavy weathering purely because this is the CO's plane, DFC, and I can tell you again who he was. Squadron Leader H. Papa Ambrose, DFC, Commanding Officer number 26 Squadron. I imagine his plane was going to be looking pretty slick. So they would not have been letting it get too shabby. So all I've done is some very light weathering and engine exhaust. Yeah, when I read that, I always think for those of you that know Red Dwarf, like Ace Rimmer, some of these guys just sound incredible. So one of the last parts was just putting on the antenna mast, and there you go. Very, very happy with this one. Very nice way to do the metallic. So yeah, just silver, Mr. Color Silver, Lacquer Silver, and Mr. Surfacer. Navigation lights on, all good to go. I hope you've enjoyed this one. I definitely enjoyed building this. Here's a few finishing photos. As usual, definitely like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks again. Take care out there.